Hello ladies and gentlemen, you're watching NDTV. Bengaluru's image took a hit today, not because of its global tech clout, but because of its crumbling roads and broken promises. After running the TCS World 10K, Bengaluru South MP Tejasvi Surya fired off a scathing letter slamming the authorities of the city for failing basic civic standards. And he's not alone. Across Bengaluru and in many Indian cities, there's a growing chorus. We are building the future, but living in the past. As India urbanizes at a breakneck pace, our cities desperately need smarter planning. They also need stronger governance and also a leadership that looks beyond the next election. Because if politics keeps trumping planning, India's cities will keep crumbling one pothole at a time. And that's what was visible in Tejasvi Surya's letter today. But how much of this criticism is politically driven? What is the truth and what are the solutions? That is what we discuss today. Joining me now is the man himself, Tejasvi Surya, Bengaluru South MP. Thank you, Surya, for your time. You have raised some very important points on the kind of neglect our cities are facing today, particularly with respect to Bengaluru. As an MP, as a fitness enthusiast, also as a resident of the city, why do you feel this decline in urban infrastructure is rather steep when it comes to Bengaluru, and where do you think the solution lies?
Thank you so much, Vasudha, for considering this issue important enough to be highlighted on the prime time today evening. Because our cities deserve more attention, more public attention, more media attention, more attention from the authorities and political leaders than they currently do. Today we had the TCS Bengaluru World 10K run. This is the only gold label World Athletics event in Asia. We had more than 40,000 people participate in this run today. And celebrity runners from across the country and across the world were here to participate. This truly is a flagship event that contributes to brand Bengaluru. But unfortunately, what was supposed to be a seamless 10-kilometer run that people could enjoy, that people had looked forward to, turned out to be an obstacle race of sorts with people, especially senior citizens, and the people in the disabled category who were on wheelchairs being completely left for the whims of the potholed roads. I myself saw so many of them trying to navigate the potholes and getting hurt in the process, spraining their ankles, and some even being supported through ambulances. This is extremely unfortunate. And the entire race, mind you, Vasudha, happened in the central business district, the MG Road, Lavelle Road, the main area, the Cubbon Road of Bangalore, which is supposedly the better of the, other roads in the city.
Right.
And every corner there were garbage dumps. The road leading to the Sankey, the Alsur Lake was stinking. Is this the brand Bengaluru that we must portray to the world?
Right.
It is extremely unfortunate that the city has been reduced to this. If the best part of the city is of this condition, Vasudha, you can only imagine the condition of the rest of the city.
Right.
Now, as far as what needs to be done, first and foremost, since the last 2.5, 3 years, Bengaluru does not have an elected corporation. And the state government and the MLAs here, especially, the ruling party, does not seem to be keen to hold the elections in time and give Bengaluru the most important tier of governance, that is the municipal governance.
Right.
So first and foremost, I think we need to get the elections going for the corporations in Bengaluru. And I have decided that in the coming parliament session, I will also urge the government of India to consider an amendment to the municipal, for the 73rd and 74th amendment of the constitution and mandating that elections have to be constitutionally and compulsorily held for the municipal bodies, just like it is held for the assemblies and the parliament.
But
it's an extremely...
Surya, so there's no elected council since 2020 is a very valid point. Also the fact that, the decline in urban infrastructure is rather steep. But Surya, also tell me, a lot of these problems are legacy problems, because I remember having the same discussion with you even during Mr. Bomai's time. So would you say that successive governments have also failed to ensure that the voice voice of the civic society, which is actually very strong in Bengaluru, has in some ways remained unheard?
Absolutely. I am not going to make this a BJP or a Congress issue. The reason it becomes, the Congress party should be held accountable today is because they are in government today. But the issue is, like you said, far steeper and far more institutional. The response also has to be, therefore, institutional. Which is why we need to have regular and timely elections for our municipal corporations, one. Second, the corporation structure itself need to be reimagined. We have a structure in place where the mayor is a ceremonial post, and the tenure of the mayor is, earlier was just 1 year, and half of that would go in, ribbon cutting and, government functions and holidays, and the rest of the time, even if the mayor were to undertake a visit of 1 ward per day, Bengaluru has 198 wards, so
Right.
it is just simply impossible. Second, this government has completely failed to appoint important functionaries to critical bodies. For example, the Bengaluru Metropolitan Land Transport Authority, which was actually constituted during the Bommai government, is left headless. The last 2.5 years, we don't have a chairman for this authority, which is supposed to be the most important authority to coordinate land infrastructure, which includes road transport in the city. It is left vacant.
Right.
So I'm just giving you one example of how our important institutions in the city that are supposed to be in charge for the city's governance, in charge for the city's infrastructure, is left completely headless and rudderless.
Okay. My last question to you, Surya, there's also this criticism that a large number of vanity projects or, projects that actually get a lot of attention are being given importance, the marquee projects, high-cost projects, and cities' basic infrastructure like roads, drainage, and public transport are being neglected. Would you see that's also the case?
Absolutely, because the money for the politicians who are ruling the state today is in these big-ticket vanity projects. World over, Vasudha, not in one city, but multiple cities, it has been proven beyond doubt that more roads, whether it is elevated roads or tunnel roads, is not the solution for congestion. We must be investing every single rupee, every single taxpayer money on mass rapid transport systems. But the government here wants to build tunnel roads. And at what cost? Astronomical costs. And the DPRs are being made by organizations who are blacklisted in other cities. Cut and paste DPRs are being produced just because there are large kickbacks for the people in power. Right. How long can we continue? How long can we tolerate this? This morning, Vasudha, I'm telling you, I was so frustrated and angry, not as a public representative alone, but primarily as a citizen of the city, because the city deserves better.
Right.
Just one 10-kilometer stretch of the outer ring road contributes to 70% of the country's software exports. And every single day, people struggle 2.5-3 hours every day to navigate that 10-kilometer stretch. Not one single metro line till today has ever been completed on the committed deadline.
Right.
Every year, there is a bloody economy in laying the roads in a bad way, which will inevitably result in potholes in a few months. And then through the year, you keep asphalting and re-asphalting the roads because the contractor, the bureaucrat, the politician makes bloody money out of this.
Okay. Several important questions that you've raised, Surya. Thank you so much for joining us and also for highlighting those points. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me also get in the other guests now. We have Deepak Thimaiya of the Congress Party. We have Brinda Adige. She's a social activist, also somebody who has known Bengaluru really well. And we have Prashant GS from the BJP. Thank you all of you for joining me on this show. Deepak, first to you, Mr. Thimaiya. You heard Tejasvi Surya out. And, I was just thinking about brand Bengaluru because I did a similar show when the budget happened, Budget 2025. And I remember Congress announcing this overhaul of Bengaluru's infrastructure by hiking the grants of the body, BBMP, from 3,000 crore to 7,000 crore. And I remember Siddaramaiah saying that there'll also be a special purpose vehicle that will be put in place to ensure these long-standing projects get completed. What really happened, sir? Why does an event like this, which should have gone off really well, attract complaints like this? And what does this say about the kind of work that the Congress government is doing specifically with regard to Bengaluru?
Thank you for having me on the show, and we have the other guests also. But I think we can always have a discussion just being very negative at each other. But let me tell you, but this is a city that we all belong to. And like Mr. Tejasvi Surya was saying, for 3 years, 4 years, Bangalore has not been having elected body and things like that. The Congress government has been here only for 2 years now. Okay, but before that, much before. And he also was good enough to say that it's not just a partisan thing that people should get together because he feels so concerned about things. But let me say that Mr. Surya should also be concerned about a lot of other things also. Like he should be talking about Mr. Modi's lofty, grandiose ideas of smart cities and things like that, and where those cities are today. And if at all you can't even walk in those cities. What I mean to say is not to blame Mr. Modi, Mr. Surya. It is to say that sometimes you start things with a very, very good purpose. Mr. Prashant, you have to wait. Okay, you can start a lot of things with very, very large, lofty ideas, but sometimes implementing is a very difficult thing because, like Mr. Surya himself was saying, that there are roads where so many vehicles ply, and let Mr. Surya, with some magic that he knows, stop the vehicles for at least about 10 days so that the roads can be repaired. It is like Mr. D.K. Shivakumar said, there are some practical impossibilities which have to be worked on with cooperation also from the opposition.
But Mr. Timaya, there's no elected council in Bengaluru since 2020 seems to be a problem that could have been fixed politically, isn't it?
Politically, yes, all parties have to come together because this is not just Mr. D.K. Shivkumar's Bengaluru or the Congress people's Bengaluru. This is everybody's Bengaluru. We have people coming every day. People have been complaining about Bengaluru, but people have been contributing like literally every day, thousands of cars and people also. There are practical issues. Mr. D.K. Shivkumar must have certainly had some aspirational idea to make Bangalore better, but that doesn't mean that, he is like, there only to just, sell dreams. But even if somebody has to give some hope. And if the roads are like this, it's not done like that by Mr. D.K. Shivakumar. These roads have been like this even before, even during Mr. Congress, the BJP government. And I'm sure that the BJP government could have built international standard roads in Bangalore that, the Congress should have not worried about repairing them. These roads were not built by
That's a very important point. Prashant ji, is this a case of political neglect where long-term planning has consistently taken a backseat to short-term electoral gains? Because even during Mr. Bommai's time, the same questions were being raised.
Vasudha, first you have to understand, for whatever the governance that BJP gave to Karnataka, people of the state decided that they wanted a change and they've given the mandate of 135 seats to Congress. So they can't blame the people or the BJP now because people have given the mandate to Congress now for 136 seats. Similarly, like how in the center for 3 consecutive terms, people of the country are giving Modi a chance and they will continue to give a chance for 4th term also. They give a chance to Congress here with 135 seats. And for the last 2 years, what have they done? Dreams about brand Bengaluru, but this is what we get. The ministers indulge themselves in scams, in corruption, people get pothole-ridden roads. And you have tunnel roads as ideas, but basic potholes are not filled. And this is the same D.K. Shivakumar, who was on record multiple times to say 100 potholes are left, 500 potholes are left, and in 50 days we will do it. And the rainy season has not even started. Imagine what happens if the monsoon sets in early and the state of affairs. And there's been complete neglect in terms of brand Bengaluru and the infrastructure here because the civic apathy and the issues which have happened right from a young mother and a child dying by electrocution on the footpath to the actions that have taken place, these instances are many. But Congress is trying to wipe everything away saying that we are having grand plans for Bangalore, but that is not happening at all. And their only idea was to divide Bangalore, which they have been successful in now, dividing the BBMP into 7 corporations. And therefore, new notifications will come. The elections will take longer than expected.
Brinda Adige, both of them have made their points. Brinda ma'am, like Bengaluru's infrastructure crisis or problems have been well documented for several years. In fact, all of us living in other cities have been quite, envious of the kind of society that Bengaluru has. But why has public outrage not really translated into consistent political pressure for reform or better, urban leadership? Because at the end of the day, the political discourse boils down to caste census, which also is very important, or language politics, which also I think is important. But at the end of the day, more of India is getting urbanized now, and that population also deserves a better, dignified life.
You're absolutely right, Vasudha. I have to place on record that until and unless the corporation elections are held, because they were not held for all these many days, they have not given the consensus and the consent of the public, the citizens of Bengaluru have not been taken into consideration. That said, the municipal corporation, the state elected representatives, as well as the union elected representatives, all of them have absolutely neglected the citizens and our voices. There is no consultation, neither do they listen to any of us. We are on the streets, we go to courts. Even when the courts order the politicians and the government, they do nothing. And this, like you mentioned, has to be placed first at the Bombay government's doorstep and then now at the Congress government's doorstep. Congress seems to be doing a lot of damage control, which happened in 2017, 18, and 19. And since then, we have seen this atrocious roads and infrastructure that has continued to date. And let us not forget, it was also during the BJP regime that we had this entire 40% hangama that we were all held at ransom and gunpoint, literally, and nothing happened.
Right.
Is there any accountability to any of them, either in that government or in this government? Shoddy jobs are done, nobody is held accountable. To date, nobody has been punished. No bureaucrat has been pulled up, no politician has been pulled up, even in the other government, BJP or in Congress. All of that said, our taxes are being paid there. Even now, 380 trees are going to be cut by the Southern Railways. Who did you ask? You're sending one notice this morning saying, send in your objections.
Right,
in one day, we will send in objection. So you're treating citizens like your slaves. And that is unacceptable. We are not going to take this anymore. I'm sure if the politicians of all parties don't take citizens seriously, there will be something serious that might happen where these elected representatives.
Okay. But Mr. Thelaya, let me also come back to what Tejasvi Surya also said. There's a certain aspect to Bengaluru's competitiveness. It's seen as one of those cities that are seen as the most attractive investment destinations. It's seen as this Silicon Valley of India. And when global events like TCS World 10K Marathon are held, shouldn't the administration be far more, invested in showing Bengaluru's strengths rather than, leaving it to people who have now shown what the city's weaknesses are? Because this also shows a certain amount of disinterest, or the fact that there is, possibly there are other avenues where politics needs to be invested in.
Let me tell you, it's a very simple thing. Like, I'm sure that this TCS 10K is a very large event, right? They did not do any recce at all, that to find out what kind of road that they were getting people to run on, so that, this happens, so that this becomes such a bad PR thing for the Karnataka government. It almost looks like, today, like, this opportunity is being used to basically badmouth the Karnataka government. Let me tell you very simple, that this is, I've been on the roads of Mumbai, I've been on the roads of...
We're talking about badmouthing Karnataka government. We are talking facts here.
Prashant, I'll just come back to you. Let him just finish his point. I'll come back to you for your...
See, let me tell you a very simple thing. If at all the TCS 10K organizers had a consultation with the government to basically find out that, this is a road like this, and if at all, people are going to be having trouble, I'm sure that, that the minister in his wisdom would have been able to do something. Let me tell you, we can't just, do things. Let me tell you, Mr. Prashant,
like Surya was also saying,
I am also, Mr. Tejasvi Surya also,
we are not... busiest part of the town.
We are not trying,
district, so
but
clearly,
yes. No, let me just finish my line. See, I've seen roads in Mumbai, I've seen roads in Delhi. I was in Mumbai just about a few days ago. It took almost 45 minutes for me to traverse just a stretch of 4 kilometers, and people don't talk about the traffic in Mumbai at all. Anything happens in Bangalore. But still, that Bangalore is the greatest destination for everybody to come. Mr. Prashant also should be feeling proud of...
Okay, Prashant, your point. Yeah.
What you say is that we should do something about these cities. I will also bring it to the notice of the minister as well as the government. We should
but that should have been done done
city
before the
better.
event, no, sir, because, now people tweet about it, people talk about it, and that is going to not really be great for you.
No, I mean, nobody is defending bad roads,
Vasudha.
please.
Yeah.
Nobody is
Yeah,
defending
Vasudha,
bad
see.
roads.
Okay, now Prashant, make your point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vasudha, this is not about the TCS organizers now not talking to the government. The entire route map has been approved by the commissioner's office. They are aware what's happening because without the permission of the police and the local authorities there, you cannot conduct better than 40,000 people. So it's
But the
not
TCS
easy
didn't
now
know
shift
the
the
road
blame
was
saying
bad.
TCS did not approach government because TCS has been doing it for probably 18 years or something in Bangalore now, 18 or 20 years.
Okay.
Because I remember from 2008 itself, I participated many years there. So prior to 2008 or 9, I don't remember. But considering that the police is involved and the local authorities have been informed, it is unfair to blame TCS to say they did not approach the government. What was
Okay,
it?
TCS
Was the
didn't know the
government,
roads were bad?
was the DCM looking for some commission from TCS? Was he looking at some kickback saying, give us money, I'll give you roads? What sort
Okay,
of a reply
even-
is this
even
saying
like
that
you
they should
say.
approach the government?
Okay,
This
completely
doesn't
out
work
of
that
time
way.
now. Thank
The
you.
roads must
Thank you,
be-
Prashant. Thank you,
One
Brinda,
more
ma'am.
minute.
Thank you,
Please
Mr.
come
Thumaiya,
in.
for joining me on this broadcast on this show. As India urbanizes rapidly, should we be rethinking how our cities are governed and also planned? Bengaluru's story is no longer just about crumbling roads. It's about also crumbling trust, like our panelists were also talking about. Cities aren't just built by technology parks or even marathons. They are built by vision, by leadership, and by the will to plan for the next generation, not until the next election. With that, it's a wrap on the show. More news and updates on the other side.